Hey guys, it's Endar. Now I have almost 6,000 hours in Space Engineers, and most of that playtime was spent on mostly vanilla public multiplayer servers, both community-ran servers and officials, fighting full-scale wars, conducting espionage, and dancing at a nightclub drilled into the core of the moon. In my opinion, Space Engineers multiplayer servers represent the absolute best of the game. However, recently I feel like the community servers have kind of died off a bit, with most of the activity going to Keen's official servers, which are insanely limited to make up for the fact that there's no performance enhancing plugins or mods. Now, whilst a PCU limit raise or a player cap increase from 16 would be nice, I can sort of understand why those harsh limits are in place. The same can't be said for a couple features of official servers that everyone agrees are a detriment to the multiplayer experience, however. Apparently the devs say that the much hated auto respawn feature has a performance reason for being in the game, so I might talk about it in a different video. The purpose of this video is about the unnecessarily tiny view distance on official servers, and trying to get the community together to realise how unnecessary that is, and to try and unite the community for change through voting on the official support site, which I've got linked down below for the topics we'll be discussing in this video. On official servers, grid entities won't be streamed into your game until you're within a mere 3 kilometers of them. To put this in perspective, the locking distance is 2.5 kilometers and max turret range is 2 kilometers, which means in theory you only have 500 meters to spot and judge an enemy ship. However, loading grids can take some time, which means it's possible for your ship to be under fire or even completely destroyed before the enemy ship is even visible to you. So why is it that Keen keeps it so low? Because a higher view distance means more grids are loaded in at once? Once you understand how and where people build their grids in multiplayer, it'll be clear how that argument's absolutely incorrect. A key point we need to remember is that the more grid entities currently loaded by the server, the more server resources are being used, which results in lower performance. However, if somebody lives in space, they usually either keep all their stuff docked to their base under a safe zone, or have ships safely parked in deep space, separated by hundreds of kilometers between each other. The view distance could be safely increased to several tens or hundreds of kilometers before the next player ship or base loads in. Even lowering it to 1 kilometer wouldn't change the number of grids loaded at someone's safe zone base. On planets, it's a little different. Because of the spawn pod mechanics spawning you somewhat near another player, and the fact that there's less space on planets anyway, the distribution of planetary bases is a lot denser. However, I have yet to encounter 2 bases that are under 10 kilometers away from each other. The only other possible reason for having such a low view distance I can see is that it supposedly protects people who build on moons from being easily spotted and wiped out. Unfortunately, this supposed protection is totally useless, since you can just look for voxel deformation holes which are visible from hundreds of kilometers away anyway. Increasing view distance would have so many benefits, from making fleet battles far more strategic and immersive, with more ships visible, to promoting player interaction by making it easier to see each other, which is the whole reason people actually play on servers in the first place. I've made a topic on the official Keen support site to increase view distance to at least 5 kilometers, ideally upwards of 8 if possible. For them to consider this though, we need votes. It's linked down in the description. Give it a vote. Anyway, I've got nothing against Keen or the official game server admins, I just want to see officials be the best they can be. I've had some of the most fun I've had in this game on official servers, and it's pretty widely known that they're not perfect, but I want to use my voice and experience to improve it for everyone. I've been Endar Karas. If you agree with what I've said, most importantly vote, but also like and subscribe. If you don't agree with what I've been saying, then leave a mean comment or something, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!